everybody, and welcome back into Heated Shenanigans Podcast. Very special start of a new series on this channel. This is going to be our Superstar Spotlight, where we're going to take some of the absolute best and brightest from across independent wrestling and bring them right here to discuss their careers, their likes, their passions, and anything else in between. And we could not think of a better first guest than the center of attention herself, the one and only Brittnie Brooks.
Hello, I'm so excited to be here.
Truly an honor, Brittnie, to have you as the very first guest of this installment.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm so excited, and it's an honor to be the first. I've done a few things as the first before, but there could be another one, but there can't be another first. So
this is true. Well, you are currently sidelined after having an ACL surgery. What type of updates do you have for us, for all your fans out there listening? How is that going?
It's definitely super hard. So 2 years ago, I tore my other one, but I don't remember it being this difficult. Like, it's definitely, I feel like people don't really understand, like, you have to reteach yourself how to learn, or you have to reteach yourself how to walk and bend your leg and put weight on your leg and like be able to push up off of it. So right now I think I'm in the stages more so like my leg bend is getting a lot better. I still can't touch my, like, I could do all this with this leg where like I'm pretty much practically bending it all the way, but with this leg I definitely can't do it that much. So we're relearning how to do that, and also just like to step and push off of things. Like I can't go upstairs still. It's still a struggle. Like I can't alternate legs. So I'm working on that. And then just like trying to build up my quad again. And then, yeah, I guess I'll probably be in the knee brace for like another month. And then once I get that knee brace off, I can start working probably on like jumping and running and stuff like that. But it's a really long process. Like I know I want to get back as soon as possible, and I have goals to come back in 5 to 6 months, but the PTs tell me like even the best like NFL, NBA players, they're coming back in 9 to 12 months because it's just such an extensive thing to happen. Like your knees are very, very intricate and there's so many ligaments and stuff. But I do know that the actual like ACL solidifies in your body at 10 to 12 weeks. And right now I'm at 5 weeks tomorrow. So, it's just a whole process, right? So I'm doing everything I humanly can. And if you guys want to stay like up to date on my journey, I post a lot on my TikTok and my Instagram about like reels and stuff of, doing all the exercises and stuff just to keep people updated.
You had said that you had torn the other ACL. Now,
yeah.
Having experience in a torn ACL before, is this one progressing faster than the first one or about the same?
So it was weird because it was 2 years ago, which is still pretty recent, but I don't remember a lot of details. So I think personally I have been progressing a lot quicker because I've been super dedicated to this recovery. This time I have so much to get back to and so much to prove, I guess, to myself, that I remember last time I had a match at like 4 months and it was like a battle royal type situation. And then by 6 months, I was back to wrestling like matches, but it was definitely still painful. And I never did like get a brace for it. I just wore like new knee pads. But I definitely think that I'm going to probably return with a brace this time. I'm still like debating it because there's like positives and negatives about it. But I definitely feel like I'm progressing a lot quicker this time because every single day I've been in the gym. I've taken 2 rest days in like 5 weeks. So, but even on my rest days, I'm still working on bending and straightening my leg and doing like leg raises and stuff to activate my quad. So yeah, I think I'm so much more dedicated. Like every single day I spend 2 to 3 hours at the gym. I'll hit an upper body part and then I'll go straight and doing PT. And then obviously I'm doing PT at PT. So it's just like, I'm doing like 10 hours a week on my knee. So trying to get it better.
Well, I definitely want to commend you on your work ethic because I've seen the Instagram clips where this is not slowing you down at all. If anything, it looks like you're hitting it harder than you have before. And it is very inspiring to see somebody of your age, because you're only 20 years old, with this type of dedication and work ethic to not be set back by such an incredible injury that is used to be career enders years ago, but now, thankfully, we're a little bit further ahead in medicine, and ACL injuries, while severe, aren't really the game enders they used to be. But for you, you're just not being stopped.
I'm trying my best to stay as involved as possible because one of my like biggest, I guess, fears, or like the thing that I noticed, that when people get injured, they kind of just like disappear. And I know that everybody's different, but last time I just disappeared. Like I stopped posting on Instagram, I stopped showing up to places. Like, but this time I'm like, I want to do everything I can, like still do podcasts, do commentary where I can, be a manager for Taylor Kingsley. So like I'm trying to be as involved as possible, still roll out content, still get, as much as I can out of this time and progress in ways that are going to be beneficial with everything that isn't like physically wrestling.
And that's a good mindset to have. So has it allowed you to view your career in a different perspective since you've had to slow down and take time away from the ring? Has there been any type of reflection on, man, I was doing this, but maybe I should go a different route when I come back?
I think that the most important thing for me is probably promos and character work, because that's what, to me, so my biggest goal is to make it to WWE. And it felt like it was starting to get pretty close, but then obviously this got like taken away from me. So I'm like, all right, so you're pulling me back a little bit. It's okay. I definitely think that that's something I need to center my wrestling around more, because both knee injuries have come from things that are basic, and it's not like, oh, I'm not going to do as dangerous things. Like this one was from a crossbody and the other one was from reversing a body slam. So it's like super simple things always that I feel like hurt people. I definitely don't think I'm gonna like change my style or anything, but I think that I'm definitely going to try to make sure I'm more character oriented on everything, and putting out more promos, like pre-match, post-match promos, trying to bring that character into the ring and just emanate star power, because that's what I know that WWE is looking for. This has given me a lot of time too to watch a lot of stuff. So as much as I've been watching like wrestling and stuff, I've been watching like reality TV shows to sort of create and pull from characters. Like I'm a big fan of Big Brother, and I've been binge watching it the past few days. And I just like, you learn a lot about people's personalities, and you can learn like funny comebacks that you can use. I was watching a movie, and there's a comeback that I definitely want to steal one day. One day I want to say it to someone in an in-ring promo. So I think that just doing everything I can that isn't wrestling is just so important. And it definitely feels so much different this time.
I wanted to ask, have you ever gone on cagematch.net?
I have, and it's so inaccurate because it definitely doesn't have all my matches. I think it says I have like 80 matches, but I've had like 130.
Have you read the comments?
No, I haven't.
Do you want me to read some?
Yes. Oh my gosh, I would love to.
All right. I think you're going to be very happy with how people view you as a professional wrestler.
Oh, dang. Okay.
So there are 4 comments that they have currently. This looks like it was put up January 9th, 2024. So this is relatively recent. Okay. Has all the talent in the world, with some of the most charisma I have seen in a women's wrestler in a long time. She's only 19 and is bound to get signed by a major promotion at some point. I first heard of her in Dreamwave when she became the Dreamwave Women's Champion, and that title reign was phenomenal. She knew how to get the kids involved so heavily into her entrance and her ring work as well. The Barbie print all over is something that is definitely going to stick out. Brittnie is a future world champ, mark my words.
Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, that's so sweet.
The second one. Brittnie is uber talented, professional wrestler, and she's so confident in her abilities in the ring and on the mic. She performs like a 10-year vet at the age of 19. Very talented ring performer, great charisma. She's a future women's champion, and she has a long career ahead of her.
Thank you. If I can fix my freaking knees to go 2 years without hurting them, but I appreciate that.
Now, do you, again, like on the knee, like there were freak accidents, but do you feel that you're going to be a little bit more, I don't know, like hesitant in the ring, or you think there's going to be any baby steps you need to take?
I think there's definitely baby steps because last time I was super scared to do any type of like landing. I mean, it's crazy because like even standing in a ring, like having people bump and run and hit, it's like when it's like a law of moving objects, it's definitely super scary still. But I definitely think that once I can get past mentally, because I think the biggest, like I had somebody tell me the biggest thing is going to be mental, and I definitely felt that before I even got surgery. Like I was super scared to get surgery again because it's like they're putting you under, and you know, like there's a lot of things that can happen. There was even a scare that I got infected, and I was like, well, what did I do? Like, and they're like, oh, well, it's nothing you did, like infections just happen with surgery. And I'm like, oh my god. So I definitely think that every like injury is very different. And last time I was afraid to do my slingshot elbow, right? To jump over the ropes. I was afraid to go to the outside and do like a house show dive because you're landing on your knees and absorbing a lot. I was afraid to jump off the top rope for a while. So I definitely think it's going to take a little bit to get me comfortable with it again and not make the same mistakes of landing heavy. I've always had that trouble of like, my coach would be like, just jump off the top rope and land on your legs and like absorb the fall. Cause there's a certain way you can land to where you're not blowing out your knees when you land. And you saw it like with Seth Rollins when he tried to do the sunset flip over the top rope and he landed all weird. It literally just takes slightly landing too much weight onto your knees. So I definitely think it's going to be scary.
Well, again, I'm looking forward to the return. And I wanted to ask, you'd mentioned earlier the goal is a WWE contract. Has the opportunity presented itself at any point so far to do any extra work with WWE, AEW, or TNA?
Yes, I've actually done extra work for all of them. So my first ever extra work was in February last year, and I got an AEW dark match. And then I kept trying to get WWE, and I was in contact with them. And then the first thing was like you had to be vaccinated, which like at the time I wasn't. So I went and I got vaccinated. And then by the time I had the vaccination, they're like, "Oh, you don't need it anymore." I was like, "Bro," and then the next time was like, oh, you have to have full clearance from your ACL surgeon, which like when I got hurt last time, I never really went to my surgeon and he was like, okay, you're cleared. Like he didn't write it out or anything. I just started to wrestle when I felt fine. So I know this time I definitely need to get a paper that says I'm cleared. So then I couldn't do it the next time they came. So then finally I got to do it earlier this year. I did like a Raw in Anaheim. I did the Salt Lake City SmackDown. I actually had like a little spot in it I've actually never talked about before because it's just like the back of my head. There was like an opportunity to like serve food to the bloodline. And they had me bring like a white button-up shirt. And so they just had me like bring a plate. And there's a clip on Twitter of it, which is really funny. But like you can't tell that it's me. It's just the back of my hair. And then I did WrestleMania, which was incredible. The idea to get paid to go to WrestleMania, that was unreal. And then I did no, it might have been before WrestleMania. I did a Raw in Arizona. And then I was set up to do a couple things that I had to pull out. Actually, the next day, so I got hurt. The next day, I was supposed to do extra work, and I couldn't do it. And then a couple weeks later, I was supposed to do extra work, so I literally took the flight. And I sat at the hotel in the parking lot of the Allstate Arena and was like, dang, I should be there right now. But at the time I didn't know if it was torn, if it was just a sprain, if it could have been anything. So, you know, I definitely wouldn't have gotten cleared to do anything if I was like limping around. So, you know. And then TNA, I did it twice in Vegas when they had Hard to Kill. And then the next time they had I don't remember what it was. But it was an event. And then AEW, I also have done like Double or Nothing both years. I've done this past year, I actually helped Adam Cole out of the ring when MJF returned, which was really funny because they wouldn't really tell us who they needed help with, but they wanted like extras to help somebody out of the ring. So I originally told us Roderick Strong, and then they told us Adam Cole, and I was like, that's weird. Who's gonna like hit him? And then all of a sudden, like MJF went out, and I was like, oh, that makes sense. But yeah, they were keeping it a really good secret. And then I've done AEW both times in Phoenix. I did a Ring of Honor match that never aired because it just wasn't very good. On my behalf, I was really sad about it not going too well. So yeah, I mean, I've done quite a bit, and I think that's why in my head I was like, all right, like WWE is getting closer. I just need to get myself to the tryout. And then I got hurt. So I still don't know when they're going to do another indie tryout, because I know they've been doing a lot of like the athlete tryouts for Next in Line, but I hope to be a part of it.
I think you have all of the makings of going to one of the major companies, even if it's not WWE. I did want to ask, what would you say is a characteristic or trait that you provide to a company that nobody else does?
I would say my connection with like boys and girls, like little kids, because it's always been like my biggest thing in wrestling is to inspire people. And one of the like best things I ever got to do was in February. I had a match against Maggie Lee, or no, it was actually in April. It was against Maggie Lee and Zeta Steel at Dreamwave. And I had this idea. I was like, Dreamwave's kind of like the WrestleMania, or oh my gosh, the anniversary show is kind of like the WrestleMania of Dreamwave. So I want to do like a John Cena inspired entrance where, you know how like one time he had all of the people like line up on the sides of like in John Cena outfits doing like the "You Can't See Me." And I was like, what if we do this? But like we pick four little girls that like always want to like buy my merch, and like they're always super happy for me to come out. What if we get them and put them like in the entranceway and hold the little rally towels? So it was so cute. Right before I was about to go out, we pulled them aside and we are like, hey, can you do this for us? And they're like, oh my God, yes, no way. They were all so excited. We gave them glasses and a little rally towel, and we sent them out, and they were a part of my entrance, which is just so special. So I think that idea of creativity and positivity and connection with kids is so important to me. And I feel like I bring that, instantly. When I wrestle in Arizona, there's a venue that's like outdoors. And every time I make my entrance in that venue, like all the little kids just swarm me. I don't know why that is different than like the other venues that we do in Arizona, but I think it's just having that connection with people, and I just want to inspire people, and I just want to make them feel a type of way when I'm out there. So
That's good. And Arizona is a very rich wrestling area to be in. What is the professional wrestling scene like from your perspective in Arizona?
We definitely have like quite a few promotions that run. Sometimes it gets a little territorial, but I personally, I don't like, I'm not into that. Like whatever. Like I want to wrestle wherever's beneficial to my career and how I want to do things. There's quite a few. So like my home promotion where I trained at is Arizona Wrestling Federation. And then this past weekend I was a part of Wrestle Drag, which is just so cool. It's a wrestling and drag show. So in between the matches, they have drag performances, which is just so cool. Like, I don't know where this idea came from, but it's literally perfect. And they always say like wrestling is like drag, and now you have a show combining both of them. And then a couple weeks ago, I did Party Hard, where I was like a manager for Taylor Kingsley, which was really cool because that aspect of, I don't know, it's just so like go out there and have a great show, be entertaining, do what you want. It's like you have so much freedom. And I think just in general as an indie wrestler, you have freedom. But yeah, there's just so many options for people in Arizona. So if you're watching this and you are in Arizona, come train with us at AWF. It's really fun. And then also just like whenever GCW comes here, I got the honor to do it earlier this year, and then I was supposed to do it a couple months ago, but I got hurt like 2 weeks before, so that kind of sucked. But yeah, whenever GCW comes here, and then just like AEW will come here, WWE will come here, so it's really cool to be a part of pretty much everything that comes to Arizona, because my idea is I want to be the hometown hero. I want to be the face of Arizona, so what better way than to just do everything? So
What would you say is one lesson that you've learned in your career so far in professional wrestling that you didn't expect to learn, and how has it changed your career afterwards?
ooh, that's a good question. I think so like I always knew that injuries could happen, but I think grasping the ideas that injuries happen and it's okay. Everybody gets hurt. Everybody has roadblocks. Everybody is going to go through something that's going to set them back. But you get back to it, you get out what you put in. So if I continue to work super hard, I continue to do everything I can to get back, it will happen, because our bodies have a natural way of telling us to slow down. And I think I was doing too much. Like I think I canceled like 20 bookings. I had so much that I was doing. I was barely home. I think the first 6 months I was only in Arizona maybe like 30 days over the course of 6 months. Like I would have a couple days here, a couple days there. Like with WrestleMania weekend, I was getting no sleep. With all these crazy weekends that I got to do back to back. I think in March I had like 12 shows within four weeks, which is kind of crazy. All the extra work I was doing, it was just a lot. And I think it was my body's way of saying, hey, slow down. You want longevity. You don't, like, obviously doing a lot is great, but you don't want to do too much to where you're burning your body out. Cause I'm the type of person that I'm like, oh, I can do this, I can do that. And that's like how I was. Like there was a point before when I first came back after my first knee surgery, I was still in high school. Actually last year, like last 2023, when I first did like AEW a few times, I was still in high school. So I was doing high school, college, working a job, going to training, and traveling on the weekends. So I've always been such a go-getter. Like injuries have really taught me maybe I should slow down, but who am I to say? I'm probably going to come back and agree to do a million bookings again, because it's just so fun. Like there's nothing like it. Like during the weekends, I'll get no sleep. My weekdays are kind of days to like reset, redo my life, go to the bank, go do my laundry, all that stuff, and then get back on the road again. So I don't know. It's just so much fun. Like I don't want to slow down, but this is my body's way of telling me I need to.
This is very, very true. Now, one of the first times I had heard about you, good friend of mine, Tony Vela, had brought you in to do a store signing for his show and Wrestling Guy Store Phoenix.
Yes.
But before even Tony had pointed you out to me, You Are More is an organization that I had seen you pop up with. And it's an organization that we just recently are in talks to do a very, very big show with in the coming months. How did you end up getting involved with You Are More?
So I remember seeing them on Instagram, and I saw like Jasmine Allure posted, Billy Starks posted, and I was like, this shirt looks cool. I like the way it's just embroidered and it's so simplistic, and I like working with companies. So I hit them up and I started to like look at a lot of their posts, and I've been huge into mental health, especially being hurt, because the biggest game is in your head. And I mean, it was just so great to always hear them just spreading so much positivity about mental health and just really showing the importance of it. So, and then I first met them at a Dreamwave show. I can't remember. I think it was earlier, maybe like when I won the title, but I can't remember. And then I invited them and I got them to come to the first Uprising show in December. And then just from there, they would always be at like all the shows in that area. I saw them at Squared Circle Expo, and they originally were going to do a show on the 23rd of June, but they ended up like not doing it, and then just invited me out to go to the client appreciation party. And so I just became really good friends with Jose and Luis, and anytime they're like, hey, can we give you our shirt, I'm like, yes, please, I love these shirts. Like it gets people, like there's people who come up to me like at the gym or whatever and be like, yeah, what is that, like what is You Are More? And I just love spreading the message and the positivity. And honestly, You Are More has helped me so much through the recovery, because it's just really focusing on that, like, you're more than the things that you're being challenged with right now. You're more than what your negative thoughts want to tell you, because there's so many times where I'm like, why did I have to get hurt? Why am I out when all these other people are like succeeding, which I'm so happy for them, but like I'm missing out on all these opportunities that I thought were meant to be. But I have to silence those thoughts, because at the end of the day, things happen, but you are stronger and you can push through whatever is going on in your life, whether it be, emotionally, physically, mentally, like with your family, with your job, like anything you're going through, you can push through it. Like humans are extremely, extremely powerful and can do so much. So I just think that they just have such a great message. I'm super happy for the relationships and the friendship that they have brought into my life. Like they were always like, yeah, you can crash at our house whenever you need, which is just so sweet. and they're great, and they're wrestling fans, and bringing mental health to wrestling. And I was so happy for their partnership with TNA. That made my heart so happy, because now they're getting more recognition on a grander scale, and I hope that it's only up for here from them, because they're great people. So
Absolutely. When we had first got into talks about doing a show, you were one of the first names that was brought up in the conversation that Luis and I had on the phone. Missa Kate was the other one that came up immediately. And you guys have been really just stalwarts in what they're trying to do, spreading the positivity, spreading the message and the awareness of the importance of mental health, and taking care of yourself and believing in your abilities. And once we get the official go for the show, date-wise, that's the only thing we're waiting on, is locking in everything. But regardless of where you're at in recovery, whether you're able to wrestle or not, we want you a part of that show.
Aw, I appreciate you guys so much. I know I selfishly am like, can you make sure it's like after February, just in case?
I can tell you the date that we're talking about is almost, well, it's the tail end of March.
Okay, so that honestly, it should be perfect. My biggest goal of stuff that I want to be a part of, I want to be obviously a part of that show. I want to be part of Squared Circle Expo, and I want to be a part of WrestleMania weekend, especially because it's literally 4 hours away from my house. And I just need to like run a WrestleMania weekend, because there hasn't been one where I've done a ton of shows yet, or, so I just want to be a part of like those things. So I'm like, all right, I need to get back at least by April, March time. But the goal is obviously as soon as humanly possible, as soon as my quad can start being strong again. But yeah.
Well, before we wrap up here, Brittnie, is there anything at all that you would like to promote, give a shout out to? The floor is yours.
Yes. So I would like to, if you guys like to follow me, you could follow me on Instagram at the Brittnie Brooks, TikTok at the Brittnie Brooks, which I have a lot of fun on TikTok. It's really fun. Twitter at Brittnie Brooks, where right now there's a heated discussion of everybody thinking that I look like Sol Ruka. It's reaching a lot of random people's Twitter For You pages, which is really funny to me. And then you could check out my pro wrestling tee store. Every bit of support helps, because I'm like kind of not working that much right now, because obviously I can't wrestle. And then, yeah, I have merch myself that I can ship out to you, where I just got some keychains in, stickers, trading cards for all those trading card people. I know that there's an intense group of them. They love them, and I love them for it. Yeah, so I have all the options. I also have a Cameo, so you can book me to make a little message, maybe a birthday message, a get well soon message, whatever type of message you want, I got you. So yes, check me out on all those things.
Saying again, and before we close up here, the one thing I want to end this podcast on is, guys, once Brittnie is healthy and able to take bookings, any promoter out there looking to bring in female talent or just talent in general, I would encourage you to look no further than booking Brittnie Brooks for your event. She is unbelievably good in the ring for such a young professional wrestler, and she's going to get better. She's already really good, but to think she's going to get better is crazy. But again, guys, seriously, do reach out to Brittnie once she is healthy enough to get back in the ring. You will not regret it, and it will honestly improve the quality of your shows by having Brittnie Brooks on your show.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that so much.
You're most welcome, Brittnie. Well, guys, that's going to do it for this first installment of Superstar Spotlight. Huge thank you again to my guest, Brittnie Brooks. And guys, everybody out there, take care, and we will see you on the next episode of Heated Shenanigans Podcast.